The iPhone 17 Pro Max has been out for just under a month now, and so far, I've tried out a lot of different cases for these phones. Like, seriously a lot. So in this video, I'll show you 7 different options split into categories. I also happen to have all 3 colors of the 17 Pro Max. I'll show you most of each case using the silver 17 Pro Max, and then quickly show you what that choice would look like if you had either of the other 2 colors. Now let's get this started with the best Aramid fiber thin case. There are several options in this category, all with their own style and subtle differences. There is one that's pretty unique in several ways, and I think it looks awesome. So my choice for an Aramid fiber thin case goes to Aulumu. To start off, let's talk about the obvious, which is that this case has a pretty industrial kind of sci-fi look to it. It's also the only Aramid fiber case I've found that has the sides completely cut away. I like this a lot because I find it adds to the comfort of holding onto your phone in an Aramid fiber case. While it's not the case with every case, sometimes this area can be a little uncomfortable, just depending on how this area is cut out. And that's why I'm such a fan of this design. There's no cutouts bumping out around the sides of the case, it's just one smooth cutout. Taking a look inside the case, you can see it's MagSafe compatible. This triangle up here is actually a piece of silicone, which helps to dissipate heat through this whole camera ring rig here. If this area was to heat up, this little indicator here will actually turn yellow just to show you that there is some heat happening in this area of the phone. So here's what the Aulumu Aramid fiber case looks like on the silver 17 Pro Max. Here's what the case looks like from the front with the screen on. Looking at the left side of the case, you can see how this cutout comes into play. It's really nice that you have full access to the actual buttons of your phone. And then looking at the right side is the same cutout, giving you access to your camera control button and your side button. What I like about having this cutout at the bottom is it almost gives your fingers a place to kind of hold onto the phone, depending on how you're gripping it. And then regardless of how you're holding onto and moving around the phone, you're not running into any little cutouts that are bumping out along the side of the phone. Looking at the bottom, you have precise cutouts for your microphone, charging port, and speaker. For camera protection, this case is giving you quite a bit of coverage over here on the plateau, and then the actual camera lip here is giving you decent height to keep your lens from rubbing against surfaces. Looking at the screen side, the top and the bottom of the case are raised, which is going to keep your screen from rubbing against a surface like a tabletop if your phone is placed face down. Though if you do add in a screen protector, that lip pretty much goes away, so just something to keep in mind. MagSafe strength on this case is quite good, and it's not going to give you any issues having it on a car mount going over some slight bumps. Also worth mentioning too is that this case has a pretty tight fit, so once it's on, it is a little bit tricky to get off, which is a good thing when it comes to having a thin case like this on your phone. Now here's a quick look at what that case would look like if you had the deep blue phone. So that's a look from the back, the left, the right side, and the bottom. Switching that over now to the cosmic orange color, here's a look at what that looks like in this case. A look from the left, a look from the right, and a look from the bottom. Now, if that choice is too out there for you, then the Mous Aramid fiber is a solid pick this year. The craftsmanship of this case is solid, and I especially find that all the edges that are cut out around this case are some of the more comfortable ones from all the Aramid fiber cases that I've tried. Now, all the cases in this video are MagSafe compatible, but when it comes to overall strength combined with usefulness, there is one winner, and that's the Elite Gen 2 from video sponsor MagBak. This year, the Elite case comes in 2 different colors, black and beige. The second version of the Elite case has gone through some slight updates, improvements to overall build quality, as well as 50% stronger magnets. Inside the back of the case is color-matched microfiber to keep the back of your phone free from scratches. On the inside of the case, each corner has a little air pocket here to help with drop protection, which is rated at up to 12 feet. To start with, here's a look at the silver 17 Pro Max in the beige color of the MagBak Elite case. Here's a look at the phone from the front so you can see what that looks like. Looking at the left side of the case, you have floating buttons, which are all clicky and responsive. Below the buttons is this strip of grips, which is also on the right side of the case as well. Now these grips, the buttons, the camera ring, as well as this loop on the back, which we'll look at, are all customizable parts. Each case comes with color-matched components, and there are 5 other options available on the website. Looking at the bottom of the case, there are mounting points for a lanyard on each side. Covering your charging port is what MagBak calls the pinky pillow, which helps to keep debris out, but also keeps your phone more comfortable to hold, especially if you're using something bigger like the 17 Pro Max. On the back of the case is this finger loop, which you can pull out to help make the phone easier to hold onto. And then when you're done with it, you can just push it back down. When it is pushed down, it lays flat enough so that it doesn't get in the way of any MagSafe accessories or chargers. And then like we've covered, MagSafe strength on this case is really good. These bars that you see on the back of the case are actually telescoping magnets, which help the case to stick confidently to a bunch of different metal surfaces. This is perfect for a use case like sticking your phone to gym equipment when you're at the gym instead of leaving it on the floor. Taking a look at the front, it does have a pretty decent lip here, which is going to keep your phone screen off of surfaces. And then looking at the back, the camera lip has really decent decent clearance to keep your lenses off of surfaces. Also on the back of the Elite is a kickstand that pops out so you can stand your phone up in either portrait or landscape. Alright, let's quickly cycle through the different colors of each phone in each different case. Here's a look at the deep blue color in the beige case, which for me personally might be my favorite color combo for this case. And then here's a look at the cosmic orange phone in the same case. And then switching to the black MagBak Elite, here's what that looks like with the cosmic orange inside it. Here's a look at the deep blue phone. And then finally, the silver Pro Max in the black case. Now this year, the Pro iPhone colors are pretty unique. We didn't get a black color, but what we did get is this bright cosmic orange. I imagine you'll want to show off that bold choice of yours, and do so in a case that claims it'll never yellow. So my choice for a clear case is the Ghost 2.0 from dbrand. To start with, we'll take a quick look on the inside, where you can see that this case is MagSafe compatible. And then here's what the case looks like with the Silver 17 Pro Max installed. Here's what the case looks like from the front. On the left side of the case, you have buttons that are semi-detached and all super clicky and responsive. You also have this grip pattern that runs the whole way around the case and does a really good job at giving you confidence holding onto your phone. On the right is your side button, which is semi-detached like the others, clicky and responsive, as well as a camera control button. Looking at the bottom, the case has good cutouts for your microphone, charging port, and speaker. Looking at the front, the case has a pretty good lip to it, which is going to help keep your screen off of surfaces, and with a screen protector installed, is going to give you the slightest bit of clearance as well. Looking at the back, you do have the slightest bit of clearance to keep your lenses off of surfaces, and what's nice is that the entire camera plateau is covered by a protective layer of the case. When it comes to MagSafe strength, this case does really good. It's definitely above average. The back of this case is coated with an anti-scratch layer, and like I said, is anti-yellowing. dbrand says if it ever does yellow, reach out, it's a lifetime warranty, and they'll swap your case out for you. Now let's take a look and see what the other colors of the phone look like in this case. So here's what the deep blue phone looks like in the dbrand Ghost 2.0. And then what I'm sure you're especially interested to see is the dbrand Ghost on the cosmic orange 17 Pro Max. Now, if you want to keep your phone safe in a lot of different drop scenarios, there's one case company that is very bold about their claim and not afraid to post it all over social media. That brand is Mous, with my pick for the best protective case, the Mous Limitless. This case comes in 11 different colors, so I'd encourage you to go check those out on the website after you watch this video, but I do have two of the colors available with me here, which are walnut and marine. Inside the corners of the case is AeroShock, which is a proprietary material made by Mous. The AeroShock material is part of what gives this case its excellent drop protection. The inside of each case is lined with microfiber to help keep the back of your phone free from scratches. Something Mous got heat for last year was not having the best camera control button, which they've definitely solved. It no longer just pops out when you just barely tap the case. It's in there nice and snug. So here's a look at the Silver 17 Pro Max in the marine color of the Limitless case. The back of the marine case has a nice fine fiber finish, which I find to be nice and premium feeling. Here's a look at the case from the front for those who are interested. On the left and the right side are mounting points for a lanyard if you want to use one. You have your camera control button, which is improved, and then your floating side button. Down at the bottom are your cutouts for your microphone, charging port, and speaker, which are all nice and generous in size. Even if you add in a screen protector, you're still getting lip here in the center, and plenty of lip here on the top as well as the bottom of the case. And then looking at the back, you have a decent lip here to help protect your camera lenses. Now to quickly talk about MagSafe, with this fabric material, it doesn't have the best grip on a stand like what I have here. It falls off pretty easily, though I am bouncing the mount on my table. And then switching over to the walnut option, which is again smoother, it's a little better, but still not winning any awards. Pretty average as far as MagSafe strength goes. Now let's cycle through the colors of the phone so you can see how they match up with this marine color as well as the walnut option. So here's a look at the Silver 17 Pro Max in the walnut finish. Here's a look at the deep blue in the walnut case, as well as the cosmic orange. Here's a look at the deep blue phone in the marine case. And then finally, I'll look at the cosmic orange 17 Pro Max in the marine Mous Limitless case. Now, while Apple does make a decent silicone case, it is pretty basic and it doesn't really hold up the best over the course of the minimum 1 year you'd have with this phone. So my choice is a case that feels better made and is more useful day to day, which is the Torras O-Stand silicone case. This case comes in 8 different colors. I have the deep blue version here, and one I'd really love to get my hands on is the mint color. To start off, the inside of the case is lined with a soft fiber to help keep your phone free from scratches. This microfiber doesn't just line the back, it also goes up into the sides of the case as well. Now here's a look at the case with the 17 Pro Max in silver installed. In the hand, this case has a really good feel. The silicone on this case is nice and smooth and nice and soft. Looking at the left, you have floating buttons, which are all super clicky and responsive. And then on the right, a floating side button, which which is clicky and responsive, as well as a color-matched camera control button. At the bottom, precise cutouts for your microphone, charging port, and speaker, as well as a mounting point for a lanyard. The screen lip protection on this case is quite generous, and even with a screen protector added, gives you clearance. Looking at the camera protection, there is a pretty decent lip here to keep your lenses from rubbing against surfaces. Talking about MagSafe strength, this case has really decent magnets. On the back, the MagSafe ring is also a pop-out stand that rotates 360 degrees, so you can stand your phone up in either portrait or landscape mode. On their website, Torras says that they've tested this movement for over 30,000 cycles, which mathematically is several years of usage. Alright, let's take a look at the other two colors of the phone in this case. So here's a look at the cosmic orange phone in the deep blue case from Torras. And then finally, the deep blue color phone in the deep blue color case. Leather is classic and timeless. I love how it wears, how it smells, and how it reminds me of Indiana Jones when it patinas. Out of all the leather cases I've tested, this one has the best fit, solid craftsmanship, and offers protection for your camera plateau. It also has a lifetime warranty, and that case is the Contemporary from Bullstrap. This case comes in 5 different colors. The one I have here is called Sienna. The inside of the case is lined with a soft fiber material, which, you guessed it, helps keep your phone scratch-free. Now here's a look at the silver phone in the case. And then here's a look at the case from the front. On the left side, you have your buttons here, which are all very clicky and very responsive. On the right, your side button, which is clicky and responsive, as well as the camera control button, which is nicely installed. And then down at the bottom, precise cutouts for your microphone, charging port, and speaker. As far as screen protection on this case goes, it is quite good. And then even with the screen protector installed, you do get a little bit of lip from this case. Camera protection on this case is quite good. There is enough of a lip here to keep your lenses off of surfaces, and the actual back of your plateau is protected here by this portion of the case. MagSafe strength on this case is good, I would say about average. One of the things I really like about this case is the tight fit that it has. Often I find that leather cases tend to slip on the bottom corners down here, and this one has a really nice tight grip to it. Now let's quickly put the other two colors of the phone in this case. Here's what the cosmic orange color looks like in the Sienna version of this case. And then finally, here's what the deep blue phone looks like in this case. Now, if you're on a budget and you want a really good all-around case, then this one's an easy recommendation, which is the Spigen Ultra Hybrid T, which has camera control. This case comes in 4 colors, 3 that can match the colors of the Pro phones, and then matte black. Inside the case, there is no microfiber, and this MagSafe ring here is slightly raised up. So here's the Silver 17 Pro Max in the glossy white version of the Spigen Ultra Hybrid T. Similar to the Apple Clear case, this portion here is a solid white block, except this one has a Spigen logo on it. Here's a quick look at the case from the front. On the left, the buttons are part of the case, but they're all very clicky and very responsive, with an action button that has a slightly different texture here, so you could find it even if you weren't looking down at your phone. On the right is your side button, which is clicky and responsive, your camera control button, and then a mounting point for a lanyard. And then down at the bottom, a very generous cutout for your charging port, microphone, and speaker. The screen lip on this case is really good. There's a little bit there with a screen protector installed, and then removing it, you can see the generous amount that you have. For camera protection, you have a decent amount of lip here. And what's also good on this case is that the entire plateau is covered. And then when it comes to MagSafe strength and Spigen, they do really well there. Alright, let's see what all the different colors of phones look like in the 2 versions of this case that I have with me. So here's a look at the Spigen Ultra Hybrid T, matte black, on the silver iPhone 17 Pro Max. Here's a look from the back, a look from the left side, a look from the right, the bottom, and then the front. So next up is the deep blue in the matte black case, which looks quite dark honestly. Here's a look at the deep blue phone in the gloss white case. And then finally, cosmic orange in the matte black case, which is kind of a cool vibe. If you'd like to pick up any of these cases, I'll have links down below, along with any discount codes I can get my hands on. As always, I appreciate you spending your time with me. Consider subscribing, and I'll see you again.